Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, hello everyone. Welcome. In this new conference, Geopolitics dedicated to current events global. In the News International, on the night of October 6 to 7, 2025, the Russia just hit the nerves, energy, and logistics of Ukraine. Russia hit very hard. This is the beginning of an answer that Vladimir Putin had to promise, following the various strikes to which the Ukrainian has delivered himself in recent times, hours on Russia. It must be said that the conflict is really happening, get bogged down. The conflict took another turn. Magnitude and what makes it really hot these last few days, these last 24 hours, this last week, it must be said. So, welcome once again to everyone. We will go into the depths to see what they are the targets that were hit that represent this damage for Ukraine and for NATO, and what is Ukraine as much will consider as riposte, since we are in a strike phase and of riposte. Before continuing viewing this video conference, I ask you to share it with maximum. Above all, put a lot of likes, which helps to secure the video conference. And if this is your first time come across my video, please click on the subscribe button. Subscribe. This allows you to never miss the hot and burning news from the moment. Let's go deep. So, these are targets that are chosen with surgical precision, according to the terms used by the media, Ukrainian locals, by other media Westerners. Precision surgical, expressly chosen targets. So, first there were strikes on Poltava. You know, the city of Poltava, this strategic city, Ukrainian, that Russia had recovered at one point. Poltava was fallen, but we don't know what happened. Apparently, we have the impression that Poltava is back, if only a little, eh? Some geographical elements have returned under the Ukrainian authority. So Poltava was hit by only 2 drones and by any of the drones. This are not shade drones. They are the great-grandparents of the shade drones. These are the drones that we call the drones Geran-2. It is pronounced Geran-2. So the Geran-2 drones targeted a depot strategic railway, a depot railway. This means that the tracks ferries were affected at Poltava. So they have these 2 drones, so they have destroyed submarines, at least under traction tension, and several power supply lines. These are damages which are very serious, very huge, because it really plays on the Ukrainian economy. Transport is paralyzed at the moment we are talking to you at Poltava. So the result of this strike, who succeeded in destroying traction under voltages and several supply lines. It is the rail traffic which was paralyzed. The entire area has been plunged into darkness. No rail traffic, and you know that rail traffic, in addition, because this circulation allows obviously carry civilian populations, but it allows also to transport logistics military. All the equipment military personnel are easily transported by railway. This is why Russia also aims at its railway voices with the argument, see, they too are aiming for everything which helps Ukraine militarily. So the same argument is found in both sides. Ukraine says Ukraine in hitting infrastructure, energy, and railways on the side of Russia. Ukraine says it is for destroy everything that helps Russia continue its war effort in Ukraine. Russia also believes that these are objectives military, but the result is that we have trains which were even beaten and immobilized on the side by Poltava. So it's as if this is not enough. Poltava was the only locality that was hit tonight. We have Kharkiv, who was struck. Kharkiv remained under a real pressure. Yes, more than 25 drones have hit the thermal power station number 3 of the Nemyshiansky district. So thermal power station number 3 of Nemyshiansky district was also hit by 25 drones. For the moment, don't know if these are Gan-2 drones or are these the Shahed drones, but it was hit. In less than 4 days, how many thermal power plants were hit in Ukraine? We are, I think, in the 3rd or to the 4th thermal power station. It is necessary to remember that thermal power plants aim to give electricity, and these power plants thermals help much more to contribute effectively to the effort of war, to the Ukrainian defense. And these are these power plants which become strategic targets for Ukraine and for Russia. I was going to say, even if it is still necessary, remember that Ukraine also started it, eh? Ukraine has started hitting everything which is thermal, everything that is transformer on the Russian side. And what will Russia do for its part? Russia can only act as well. So this thermal power station number 3 of the Neshansky district, which was hit, it caused fires, massive, and power cuts generalized. That is to say, when we take region by region, Ukraine only sink into the dark, just in the dark. And it's one of the Russia's primary objectives. Before winter, Ukraine should either in the dark, which allows the Russia to quickly win victory. And, it's also a strategy of war, huh? We are in a conflict already of wear and tear, therefore war as in war. So as if all this was not enough, the strategic city, the city mythical of Sumy, was also partly isolated. Strikes on infrastructure, local ones, have led to outages, partial current. So to Su, there was no cut widespread current. There was a partial power outage, and what has accentuated the energy vulnerability of the region. It must also be said that Ukrainian military installations were targeted by Russia. Russia obviously has installations, military. So firstly, there was the destruction of ammunition depots. I remind you that all this is happening past in last night's strike. Yes, and I can't put the pictures here since there's images there. They are images of violence and so on. And to avoid us being sanctioned, that the platform sanctions us. There you go. So there was the destruction of the deposits' ammunition. And in Slavyansk, there were 2 warehouses of forces, Ukrainian armies, that were destroyed, Of the depots, of the warehouses of the false armies, which were located on the territory of 2 educational establishments. So these are schools that had been transformed into an ammunition depot, this which creates total confusion between the civilian and military objectives. So the Russia closes its eyes and strikes blindness. Well, we're not going to say blindly. Russia still has targeted military installations. And all this shows that Ukraine uses a kind of dishonesty within the framework of respecting the rules of international law, which governs the right in the war, because use educational establishments to hide ammunition depots or to make warehouses for the armed forces. Ukrainians, this is not honest, but Russia quickly understood, and then Russia struck. So there was also the neutralization of resources. The strikes wiped out stocks of weapons, fuel, and ammunition. Yes, there were losses. Very important logistics in Kiev, in the capital itself. And so finally, here is the headline of the news of this night on Ukraine. We will continue to pursue the investigations. We will continue to follow this news from this side. And if there are other reports, other balance sheets, we will come back to talk about it here on the Awakening platform of consciences. Thank you, therefore, to all and to everyone. I'll come back to you later with new news. It was, of course, the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.